coming to the tomb, it was 2 days earlier that they celebrated Good Friday. And of course, that was when Jesus was crucified on Good Friday. You would have to think, why in the world would it be called Good Friday with all that bleeding and all that dying? You would have to say, why could it have been something else? Because the Bible is clear that Jesus was beaten beyond recognition. The Bible says that even before he got to the cross, that they even spit on him, they beat him, they did everything that was imaginable to him, but yet it was called Good Friday. The Bible says that after all this happened, that he carried a cross to a place called Calvary Hill, and that the cross was heavier than Jesus was. Maybe that was a revelation to us that sometimes you got to learn to carry something heavy until deliverance comes. I talk to anybody here. Amen. And the Bible said that after he got there, the Bible said, and then they began to do unimaginable things here, but yet it was called Good Friday. Could it have been because Jesus understood that this was just the beginning of something? It was not the end of something. Only Jesus can call a thing that is not as though it was. Sometimes you've got to look at something that look bad and understand that God ain't through yet. Right. Sometimes you've got to look at a thing and you've got to know that hell is on your back, but heaven is still in charge. Right. Sometimes you got to say, I know what is happening, but I know what God is getting ready to do. Right. Jesus knew what God had promised him. And when he was on the cross, the devil thought that it was over. Don't you know hell threw a party when they saw Jesus on the cross? Sometimes you be going through hell and high water, and the devil is throwing a party thinking you ain't going to come out. But somebody hard to lift your hands and say, I'm coming out of the ass too. Because you know what the word of God is concerning your situation. And every time it seems like you go through something, hell is always on. Right. And the Bible said when he was on the cross, there were two thieves, and the Bible said one said, if you be the Son of God, why don't you come down? Isn't it just like folk, every time you're trying to do right, somebody trying to talk you and they come back down. I heard Tina when she said, I ain't living like I used to live. Every time you go up a little high, anybody would try to go up and folk try to talk you to come back down. And that's what is happening here. And the Bible even said, one thief said, but I know who you are. He said, when you enter into paradise, remember me. But yet, this is the thing. That thief thought Jesus dying just like the other thief was dying. Sometimes you got to know what you believe in spite of what you see. That's right, man. He said, I see Jesus bleeding, but I know who he is. Sometimes you got to see things going wrong, but say that I know this thing is going to work out. That's something I've come to understand. You cannot live by what you see. That's right. And the Bible said that when Jesus was on the cross, the devil came and told Jesus that what he was going to do. And the Bible said, this is what I love. Jesus said, but Satan, you got but an hour. Sometimes you got to understand when you're going through hell and high water, you got to tell the devil what Jesus told him. Said, you ain't got but an hour. That means you got to do what you got to do and do it fast. Because it ain't going to always be like this. Sometimes, you know, the devil comes, he threatens what he's going to do. But you got to tell the devil, I know what is happening right now, but when I heard the word of the Lord, said, it ain't going to be like this always. And sometimes you got to know that things are going to change in spite of what it look like. But during this hour, you got to know that he's going to try you. But you got to know who's in charge. And every now and then, because you go through a little something, the devil going to try to make you think that God is not in charge of your life. But you got to know in every step of your life that God is in charge. You got to understand that when you go through something, the Bible declares that we have not such a high priest that cannot be touched by the fears of all our infirmities. Anything that you can go through, God already knows how you feel. And sometimes the devil tries to make you think, don't nobody understand what you're going through. And you're going through something unique that nobody has not experienced before. But I want you to understand the thing that you were going through. God has already prepared a way of escape. You got to understand it ain't going to be but 4 seasons. I believe I heard the Bible when it said that we've been endured for a night. But joy cometh in the morning. Touch somebody mindset ain't gonna last always. You got to understand that something don't change in my life. The Bible declares that after Jesus died, that they came and got Jesus, Joseph,